Welcome to Wellness Way USA podcast. I'm Lori Newcomer, an integrative health coach, and today we have Dr. Robert Corvino. We've mentioned him on almost every podcast in the past, and we've had him on set a couple times, but today we're going to dig in on a bit more of an introduction of who he is and what he does.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name is Dr. Robert Corvino. I am the owner of Array Strength. We are a functional medicine and clinical nutrition practice here in Pensacola, Florida. And really what we aim to do is we aim to look for the origin of chronic disease and naturally, essentially solve that origin.
Great. So tell us, how did you get started? What is a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so when I was in school, I always really had a passion to help people that were in chronic pain. One of the biggest issues I saw when I was in school was, especially with gastrointestinal conditions, I had a lot of really good friends when I was young who had very, very bad stomach problems. And unfortunately, it seemed like, everywhere they went, they would get all the testing done, all of the, different therapies done. But at the end of the day, it was like their conditions were still persistent. So I began to get frustrated, not because I was in pain, but because I saw my friends in pain. And just from seeing my friends in pain, I decided that I was going to kind of make it my goal to go out and figure out what is the origin, what is causing this, and what can I do to essentially help them get out of pain.
So now you do other things other than IBS. Also, you treat hormones and I believe allergies.
Mhm.
You on the set one time you told us about that. What are some other things that you treat naturally?
Yeah, so what I've found is, when working naturally, when working with nutrition, uh, there's been a lot of research over the years that have shown if you really go back to these ancient civilizations like China, India, and you look back at this ancient medicine, what they believed is that the gut was really the origin of disease. So really the main focus that I do is all on the gut, but what we found is that the gut just impacts so much of the body, right? So the gut's going to impact your brain, it's going to impact your sinuses. uh, it's a strong correlation with autoimmune conditions, allergies,
Diabetes, all kinds of things.
metabolic
So,
conditions, right? So what we found is that when we actually successfully revamp the gut, right, change the biome, change the flora, we have the ability to impact more than just gut conditions, but all of these other conditions as well.
just an overall health.
Absolutely.
And you do that naturally with supplements or just changing diet, nutrition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what we do is it's comes down to the primary three things would be changing the diet. Now, the biggest thing I talk about when it comes to diet is a lot of nutritionists use diet as a tool. What makes it so much different, what I do, is every diet I give is going to be individualized. So another really big issue I saw when it came to the nutrition field was trying to throw these cookie cutter diets at everyone. Whereas we're all individuals, right? We all have our own specific needs. So when it comes to diet, especially, I'm making sure that you're going to get a diet that's specific to your patient presentation. And then on top of diet, we're going to go into lifestyle factors, right? So things to decrease stress, things to decrease these other primary factors, especially if mental health is a big component. And then lastly is going to be getting into more like supplemental type protocols.
That's neat. Yeah, I saw kind of a list of some things that we're going to touch on over the upcoming podcast, and some of them were mental health and anxiety, and even with ADHD and other stuff. I'm excited to learn more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I do have a personal question. How did you how did you come up with the name Array Strength, and what's behind that? What does that symbolize?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I have a very strong Christian background, and actually, when I was trying to figure out the name for my company, I didn't want it to be something that was normal, right? I didn't want it to be, Corvino, whatever. My last name. I wanted it to be something that was unique. I wanted it to be something that was tangible. And to me, it's all of our desires to have the ability to have strength, right? So a lot of times people will think it's, personal training or think it's exercise related. But when I think of strength, I don't think of muscle, right? I think of full body. And array simply means encompassing. right? It means complete, right? So array strength to me means complete strength, complete vitality, that wholeness of health.
That's a lot of thought. Very
Yeah.
creative. I like that. Well, can you give us or the audience any teasers on what's to come for the future podcast,
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
anything else that you want them to know?
Absolutely. So some of the things that we're going to talk about, we're definitely going to dive deep into gastrointestinal health. So that's definitely the primary thing that we work with. So things like IBS, and then IBD, which would be things like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, getting deep into those things. And then other things that are impacted by the gut. So autoimmunity, allergies, hormones especially. So we're looking at things like thyroid hormone,
So that's for
estrogen,
women
progesterone.
and men, right?
Absolutely. Looking
Okay.
at male and female fertility. And then even going into some things like genetics and athletic performance.
Great. I'm excited to learn more about that. So we have Dr. Robert Corvino. So watch to learn more. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.